You want a life that wins. But winning doesn't come from luck, talent, or some miracle waiting to save you. Winning comes from dominating your time, weaponizing your energy, and sharpening your focus until your mind becomes a blade that cuts through every distraction, every weakness, every obstacle. Most people waste their hours like they have 1,000 lifetimes. They move slow, think soft, and complain loudly, but not you. You're here because you feel something dangerous growing inside you. The urge to rise, the hunger to conquer, the instinct to control your world instead of letting it control you. Listen carefully. Time is the only currency powerful men respect. Energy is the only force that separates the disciplined from the defeated. And focus is the only weapon that turns ordinary men into feared leaders. When you master these three, you become untouchable. You become the one who moves with intention while everyone else drifts like leaves in the wind. This is Machiavelli's strategic success system, stripped of illusion and delivered without mercy. If you're ready to rebuild yourself into someone who wins every day, then listen. The transformation starts now. Number 1, the law of control. Every powerful life begins with one ruthless truth. You either control your time or your time controls you. There is no middle ground, no balance, no peaceful compromise. The men who rise, the men who rule, the men who build lives that win, they operate with a cold understanding that every minute is either an investment or a loss, and losses compound fast. That's why you must become brutally selective about where your hours go, who gets access to you, and what captures your attention. Time is not friendly. It's a predator that devours the unfocused and rewards the disciplined. When you guard your schedule with the same intensity a king guards his throne, you instantly separate yourself from the masses who live on autopilot. You must become the architect of your day, the strategist of your hours, the commander of your routines. Because once you claim total authority over your time, everything else, your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, falls in line. Control is not given, it's seized. And the moment you take it, your entire life begins to shift in your favor. Number 2, the discipline of energy management. Energy is the silent currency of power. And the truth most people refuse to accept is that your life rises or collapses based on how you direct it. Weak men scatter their energy on people who drain them, habits that sabotage them, and emotions that exhaust them. Powerful men concentrate their energy like a burning lens, igniting everything it touches. To master your energy, you must first eliminate the parasites, those who demand your attention but offer nothing in return, those who call you only when they need something, those who pull you into their chaos because they have none of their own control. Then you must cut off the pointless battles, the arguments, the grudges, the scrolling, the overthinking, the emotional storms that steal the fuel you need for your ambition. Energy is not infinite, and a Machiavellian mind understands that every action must either move you forward or be removed. Next, you must become intentional with your physical, mental, and emotional reserves. You guard your sleep because it sharpens your edge. You guard your emotions because they dictate your strength. You guard your environment because it shapes your discipline. And above all, you guard your mission because your mission determines your destiny. High-value energy is created through clarity, knowing what you want, why you want it, and what deserves your attention. When you live with this level of precision, distractions fade, temptations lose power, and you begin to move through the world with a force that others can feel but cannot understand. Men who master their energy don't just win, they dominate because they show up with strength while everyone else shows up tired, scattered, and overwhelmed. This is how you create separation. This is how you rise above the ordinary. This is how you build a life that bends to your will. Number 3, the strategic focus of a winner. Focus is the sharpest weapon a man can forge, and the rarest trait in a world drowning in noise. Most people live mentally scattered, overstimulated, overwhelmed, and underperforming. They jump from one thought to another, one desire to another, one distraction to another, never realizing that a distracted mind is a powerless mind. But a man on the path to dominance learns that focus is not something you have, it's something you force. You carve it out of your environment, your habits, and your internal discipline. To build the strategic focus of a winner, you must first silence the world around you. Remove the constant beeping, buzzing, scrolling, refreshing, and comparing that steals the sharpness of your mind. Every notification is a thief. Every distraction is an enemy. The Machiavellian mindset recognizes that attention is a resource that must be defended like territory. Next, you must narrow your ambitions, not by dreaming smaller, but by aiming deeper. The man who tries to do everything becomes nothing. The man who focuses on one mission becomes unstoppable. You choose a target, you eliminate interference, and you drill into it with an obsessive precision others can't even comprehend. That's how empires are built. Then you train your mind to enter deep concentration, the mental state where ideas become crystal clear, decisions are easy, and execution becomes automatic. You don't wait for motivation. You create momentum by starting before you feel ready. You don't rely on emotion, you rely on structure. You don't chase intensity, you build consistency, and slowly your mind becomes a fortress, cold, disciplined, and unshakable. People around you will not understand why you've become distant, unavailable, or uninterested in their meaningless distractions. Good. You are not here to be understood. You are here to win. Focus requires sacrifice, comfort, entertainment, social approval, and the need to explain yourself. You cut these away because they weaken your edge. The sharper your focus, the clearer your path. The clearer your path, the greater your power. And when your focus becomes ruthless, your transformation begins. You start achieving in months what took you years. You start seeing opportunities others are blind to. You start becoming the man who moves with precision while the world moves clumsily around him. This is how superior men separate themselves. This is how you build a life that wins. Number 4, the Machiavellian system of daily execution. Execution is the final battlefield where time, energy, and focus merge into raw power, and this is the part where most men fail, not because they don't know what to do, but because they refuse to become the kind of man who does it every single day, without excuses, without negotiation, without emotional interference. A Machiavellian strategist understands that winning is never about intensity. It is about ritual, repetition, and relentless forward movement. You don't rise because you had one productive day. You rise because you built a pattern of days that compound into superiority. Execution is predictable when you design your environment, shape your routines, and discipline your mind to obey structure rather than impulse. Most men operate like slaves to their emotions. They act only when they feel inspired, motivated, validated, or energized. But men who rise above mediocrity do the opposite. They act, especially when they don't feel like it. They understand that action generates clarity, action generates momentum, and action generates identity. Every time you execute, you cast a vote for the future version of yourself. And those votes accumulate into a life that others call discipline or luck. But you know it was crafted through calculated daily warfare. Execution means scheduling your priorities instead of prioritizing whatever appears. It means creating a morning routine that calibrates your mind for dominance, not distraction. It means setting your tasks the night before and attacking them at sunrise with the same aggression a warrior brings to combat. It means keeping your goals visible, your workspace clean, your decisions simple, and your standards unforgiving. You build systems that support your ambition so that success becomes automatic rather than accidental. And when you fall short, because even the strongest men do, you don't spiral, you don't quit, you don't drown in self-pity. You adjust rapidly, like a commander shifting strategy in the middle of a battle. Flexibility strengthens execution, but consistency sustains it. You must also cultivate a cold emotional detachment from outcomes. When a plan fails, you refine it. When a task feels heavy, you complete it. When resistance hits, you push harder. This is how you trust yourself, not by promising results, but by proving them through action. Over time, your execution becomes a signature, a rhythm of wins that builds your confidence, sharpens your instincts, and reinforces your identity as someone who gets things done. People around you will start to notice that while they talk, you move. While they hesitate, you strike. While they fantasize, you build. Execution is not glamorous, it is not dramatic, it is not loud. It is the quiet, ruthless daily grind that transforms men from ordinary to exceptional, and once you master it, you become unstoppable. Number 5. The removal of weakness and distraction. Every man who rises must undergo a brutal purification, the removal of weakness and the elimination of distraction. This is the stage where the average man collapses because it demands honesty so sharp it cuts the ego open, exposing every flaw, excuse, habit, and indulgence that has been silently destroying his potential. Weakness is not always loud. Sometimes it disguises itself as comfort, pleasure, entertainment, or routine. It hides in the apps you scroll, the people you tolerate, the patterns you repeat, the thoughts you allow, and the emotions you obey. A Machiavellian strategist knows that true growth requires subtraction before addition. Before you can build a stronger self, you must assassinate the weaker one. This means identifying every area of leakage, where your time slips away without purpose, where your energy drains without return, where your focus dissolves without resistance. You must become suspicious of anything that feels too easy, anything that consumes too much attention, anything that promises instant gratification but delivers long-term regret. Distraction is the enemy's most powerful weapon because it doesn't destroy you instantly. It erodes you slowly until your mind becomes dull, your discipline becomes soft, and your ambition becomes forgettable. To rise above this, you must turn your life into a fortress. Clean your environment until nothing in it pulls you backward. Remove people whose presence weakens your discipline. Build boundaries so firm that anyone who crosses them feels your distance immediately. Cut off the unnecessary commitments that suffocate your progress. You must also master the art of internal minimalism, reducing the mental noise that keeps you unfocused, anxious, and reactive. This means silencing the inner critic that tells you you're not ready, ignoring the emotional impulses that make you fragile, and refusing the mental loops that keep you trapped in overthinking. As you remove weakness, you will notice something powerful. Your mind starts to sharpen. Your ambition starts to expand. Your days start to feel lighter, yet more productive. This is the natural consequence of eliminating everything that slows you down. But remember this. Removal is not a one-time event. It is a continuous discipline. Every week, you must re-evaluate your habits, your environment, your inputs, your relationships, and your desires. You must ask yourself with ruthless honesty, does this strengthen me or weaken me? If it weakens you, even slightly, it must go. This is how high-level men create separation so extreme that ordinary people cannot understand their transformation. They don't rise because they added something extraordinary. They rise because they cut away everything that wasn't. Over time, this precision reshapes your identity. You stop chasing validation. You stop fearing solitude. You stop craving comfort. Instead, you begin to crave clarity, purpose, and progress. You begin to prefer silence over noise, work over distraction, distance over drama, discipline over pleasure, and strength over weakness. Nothing feels better than knowing you have removed everything that once controlled you. Nothing feels more powerful than realizing your life is no longer built on impulse, but on intention. And nothing feels more liberating than understanding you have become your own master. Number 6. The cold ascension into untouchable mental power. There comes a point in every man's transformation where discipline, focus, and control evolve into something far more dangerous, an unshakable mental power that places you above the chaos, above the noise, above the emotional storms that cripple ordinary minds. This stage is not gifted to you. It is earned through self-confrontation, brutal honesty, and the willingness to destroy every mental weakness that once dictated your actions. To reach this level, you must first understand that your mind is the command center of your destiny. Every victory and every downfall begins internally, long before it becomes reality. What you think, what you tolerate, what you believe you deserve, these ideas shape your behavior, your discipline, your ambition, and ultimately your life. Weak men let their thoughts control them. Powerful men control their thoughts with precision. This is where cold mental power begins, in the deliberate shaping of your internal narrative. You must learn to detach from emotional reactions that weaken your judgment. When you are insulted, you do not react, you observe. When you are tempted, you do not indulge, you redirect. When you are provoked, you do not explode, you strategize. Emotional neutrality is not a lack of feeling, it is mastery over feeling. A Machiavellian mind knows that the moment you become reactive, you surrender power to the world. So you train yourself to respond only with intention, never impulse. Next, you must learn to weaponize silence. Silence is not emptiness, it is pressure. It forces others to reveal themselves while you reveal nothing. It gives you space to think, calculate, and choose the most advantageous course of action. It creates an aura of control that people feel even when you say nothing. Men who fear silence fill it with noise. Men who control silence fill it with power. Another essential part of ascension is developing a ruthless internal filter for what enters your mind. Most people allow garbage into their brain: random opinions, irrelevant drama, digital noise, emotional gossip, pointless entertainment, and toxic narratives that weaken their inner strength. A man rising into cold mental power becomes selective with everything he consumes. He protects his attention because he understands it is the gateway to his identity. You must limit the voices you allow to influence you, the media you absorb, and the conversations you participate in. Everything you allow to enter your mind either sharpens you or softens you, and sharpening is your mission. Then comes the development of psychological distance, the ability to zoom out from your life and see it as a strategic blueprint rather than an emotional mess. When you master psychological distance, you stop drowning in your problems and start analyzing them. You stop taking everything personally and start seeing patterns. You stop acting like a victim and start moving like a tactician. This mindset makes you harder to manipulate, harder to provoke, and harder to defeat because you no longer operate from emotion. You operate from clarity. Cold mental power also requires mastering solitude. Most men fear being alone because solitude exposes their weaknesses, insecurities, and unresolved battles. But high-level men embrace solitude because it gives them the mental space needed to think, plan, and evolve. Solitude is where your real identity emerges, without distractions, without influence, without external noise pulling you in every direction. With solitude comes self-dialogue, and with self-dialogue comes control. You begin shaping your internal beliefs, challenging your fears, strengthening your confidence, and refining your direction. And as your internal world becomes stronger, the external world loses its ability to disturb you. You also cultivate the ability to sit with discomfort. This is a superpower. The modern world is built around avoiding discomfort at all costs, but nothing powerful is built in comfort. A man who cannot sit with boredom cannot master repetition. A man who cannot sit with discipline cannot achieve greatness. A man who cannot sit with uncertainty cannot execute bold decisions. Cold mental power is born when you embrace discomfort as a sharpening tool rather than something to escape. Lastly, you must adopt the mindset of inevitability, the belief that your success is not optional, not negotiable, not theoretical, but predetermined through your discipline, control, and strategy. When you move like success is inevitable, you develop a quiet confidence, a steady execution rhythm, and an inner strength that others can feel long before they understand it. You stop hoping things will work and start believing things will bend in your favor because you are the kind of man who makes them bend. With this comes presence, the invisible force that makes people respect you, listen to you, and feel your strength without you saying a single word. This presence comes from consistency, discipline, silence, self-control, and the removal of weakness. It is the natural result of a man who has mastered his time, his energy, his focus, his emotions, and his identity. And once you reach this state, you become untouchable, not because the world stops attacking, but because nothing it throws at you can break your center. You become a fortress, you become a weapon, you become a man shaped by intention, not circumstance. Number 7, the art of strategic self-reinvention. Reinventing yourself is not a poetic idea or a motivational slogan. It is a ruthless requirement for any man who intends to build a life that wins. The world rewards those who adapt, evolve, and rebuild themselves with precision, and it crushes those who cling to the outdated version of who they used to be. Reinvention is not something that happens once. It is a continuous, strategic, deliberate act of shedding old identities and forging new ones that align with your highest potential. Most men stay trapped because they confuse consistency with stagnation. They cling to the same habits, the same mindset, the same emotional patterns, and the same worldview long after those patterns have stopped serving them. But a Machiavellian thinker recognizes that identity is a tool, a weapon, a shield that must be sharpened and upgraded constantly. You cannot rise to a higher level of power while carrying the beliefs of a weaker version of yourself. Reinvention begins with destruction, the destruction of assumptions, excuses, and narratives that have kept you small. You must dismantle the internal stories that tell you what you can or cannot be. Every belief that limits you must be interrogated and eliminated. You must challenge the voice inside you that says, "This is just who I am." That voice is a lie. You are not fixed, you are fluid. You are not defined, you are self-defined. Reinvention means stepping into a new identity before the world validates it. You walk like the man you intend to become long before you feel ready. You talk like him, think like him, operate like him, discipline yourself like him, and demand from yourself what he would demand. Identity precedes achievement. When you become the man internally, the world eventually aligns externally. To reinvent strategically, you must first remove emotional attachments to your current self. Comfort is the enemy of transformation because it convinces you that survival is enough when dominance is possible. You must detach from the opinions of those who only know your past. People fear your reinvention because it exposes their stagnation. Good. Let it disturb them. Your evolution is not meant to be comfortable for anyone, not even you. Next, you must create forward-driving pressure in your life. Pressure forces adaptation. Pressure eliminates laziness. Pressure activates potential. This means setting standards that stretch you, goals that intimidate you, and environments that demand a higher version of you. A man under the right pressure becomes stronger, sharper, and more capable than he ever imagined. Reinvention also requires isolation. Not permanent isolation, but intentional isolation. The kind that removes noise long enough for you to think, plan, and rebuild without influence. In isolation, you confront your flaws without denial, and you meet your potential without fear. This is where the blueprint of your new identity forms. Once the vision is clear, you must remove all contradictions between who you want to be and how you currently behave. Every habit that contradicts your future must be eliminated, even if you've carried it for years. Every pattern that weakens you must be replaced with one that strengthens you. Reinvention is not about inspiration. It is about replacement. You replace weakness with discipline. You replace distraction with focus. You replace excuses with action. You replace fear with strategy. This is how you rebuild from the inside out. You must also understand that reinvention requires emotional coldness, not cruelty, but clarity. You cannot become who you want to be by protecting the feelings of who you used to be. That version of you is already dead the moment you decide to grow. To keep him alive is to sabotage your future. A man becomes powerful when he stops negotiating with his past. Reinvention demands endurance because transformation is not linear. You will have moments of doubt, moments of exhaustion, moments where the old identity tries to pull you back, but you must persist. Every time you resist the pull of your old self, your new identity strengthens. This is psychological warfare, and every small victory compounds. Reinvention also involves social elevation. You cannot become a higher version of yourself while surrounding yourself with people who expect you to stay low. You need environments that challenge you, conversations that stimulate you, and relationships that reflect your next level. If your circle doesn't push you forward, it will keep you behind. You must choose elevation over attachment every single time. Another crucial element is skill evolution. New identities require new abilities. The man you want to become has skill sets your current self does not. So you must learn ruthlessly, train consistently, and outgrow your old level of competence. Reinvention without skill is delusion. Reinvention with skill is dominance. Finally, you must step into the world with the confidence of someone reborn. Reinvention is complete only when you start acting in alignment with your new identity in public, not just in private. You carry yourself differently. You speak with conviction. You move with purpose. You make decisions from your higher self, not your weaker self. You no longer seek validation because you have validated yourself through discipline and transformation. And then something remarkable happens. The world begins to respond to you differently. Opportunities appear. People treat you with more respect. Your energy becomes magnetic. Your presence becomes undeniable. Reinvention is not magic. It is strategy. It is the systematic construction of a superior self. And once you reinvent yourself completely, you become someone the world cannot ignore. Number 8. The architecture of a winning life. A winning life is never accidental. It is engineered with the precision of a mastermind who understands that success is not built on one decision, one habit, or one breakthrough, but on an interconnected system of strategic components that strengthen one another, reinforce one another, and elevate one another until the entire structure of your existence becomes unbreakable. Most men hope their life will magically improve, but hope is for the powerless. Power belongs to the man who builds his life deliberately, piece by piece, layer by layer, with the same cold calculation a ruler uses when constructing an empire. To design a winning life, you must begin with alignment. Your time, energy, focus, habits, goals, environment, and identity must not contradict one another. Weak men fail because they are internally divided. They want one thing but behave like another. They dream of elevation but live like someone preparing to stay exactly where they are. A Machiavellian strategist eliminates this contradiction by creating structural integrity within his life. Every part supports the mission. Every habit serves the objective. Every choice reinforces the identity. The architecture of a winning life starts with long-term vision, the ability to see 10 years ahead while acting with urgency today. Most people plan for tomorrow. Powerful men plan for decades. You must ask yourself who you want to be at your peak, what empire you want to rule, what mastery you want to achieve, and what legacy you intend to leave behind. This vision becomes the blueprint that guides all decisions. But vision without structure is nothing more than fantasy. So the next step is building systems. Systems are the invisible machinery that transforms your goals into predictable results. Systems make discipline easier, execution automatic, and progress inevitable. Your morning routine becomes a trigger for productivity. Your environment becomes a factory for consistency. Your calendar becomes a map for strategic action. Your boundaries become filters that protect your time and focus. Your habits become engines that run even when motivation dies. A man who relies on willpower is fragile. A man who relies on systems is unstoppable. Next, you must integrate feedback loops into your life. Mechanisms that reveal your weaknesses, highlight inefficiencies, and expose blind spots. This includes weekly reviews, performance tracking, goal evaluations, and honest self-assessment. Most men avoid examining themselves because it threatens their ego, but a strategist embraces feedback because he knows it sharpens his power. You refine, adjust, optimize, and improve, turning yourself into an ever-evolving weapon. But architecture is not only about structure, it is about energy flow. You must ensure that the pathways of your life direct your energy toward creation, not destruction. This requires mastering your emotional economy. Your emotions must be disciplined, not indulged. You cannot allow anger, insecurity, boredom, sadness, or fear to drain you. Emotional mastery is the difference between a man who collapses under pressure and a man who thrives in it. This also means controlling your environment, because environment dictates behavior far more than willpower ever will. If your surroundings support laziness, you will become lazy. If your circle normalizes mediocrity, you will shrink. If your home is chaotic, your mind will be chaotic. You must engineer your environment to support your highest potential. Clean spaces, intentional tools, strategic cues, uplifting influences, disciplined routines, and relationships aligned with your mission. And now comes one of the most important elements: resource allocation. Powerful men allocate their resources, money, time, attention, energy, with the same precision as a general allocating forces on a battlefield. Every resource must move you closer to your mission. You invest in knowledge, not entertainment. You invest in health, not indulgence. You invest in skills, not distractions. You invest in opportunities, not fantasies. When your resources flow strategically, your life compounds exponentially. Another essential pillar is adaptability. A winning life is not rigid, it is dynamic. You must be able to shift direction, pivot strategies, and recalibrate plans without losing momentum. Adaptability is a form of intelligence that men anchored to comfort lack. You evolve with the times, adjust to challenges, and turn adversity into advantage. You become fluid without losing structure, flexible without losing strength. Alongside adaptability comes resilience, the psychological armor that protects your mission when life tests your discipline. Hard days, failures, setbacks, and losses are part of the journey, but a strategist never interprets them as signals to stop. He interprets them as data, as feedback, as opportunities to grow sharper and stronger. The architecture of a winning life requires fortifying your resilience so deeply that nothing external can fracture your internal drive. Another piece of this architecture is solitude and reflection. Reflection reveals the patterns in your life, where you waste time, where you lose energy, where you self-sabotage, where you excel, where you hesitate, where you move with strength. Reflection turns experience into wisdom, and wisdom into strategy. Without reflection, a man repeats his mistakes. With reflection, he refines his path. Finally, the architecture is held together by identity, the kind of man you see yourself as when no one else is watching. Identity determines consistency. Identity determines discipline. Identity determines behavior. If your identity is weak, your life collapses easily. If your identity is strong, your life stands like a fortress. You must construct an identity forged from discipline, clarity, ambition, calm aggression, emotional coldness, and strategic intelligence. A man with a powerful identity becomes immune to distraction, manipulation, laziness, emotional inconsistency, and external pressure. He becomes a force. He becomes a presence. He becomes the architect and the enforcer of his destiny. And that is the ultimate objective, to build a life so aligned, so disciplined, so strategically engineered that winning becomes the natural outcome, not a miracle, not a fluke, not luck, but the unavoidable result of the system you have created. Number 9, the power of unwavering momentum. Momentum is the invisible force that separates men who achieve once from men who achieve endlessly. And if you truly want a life that wins, you must understand how to generate it, protect it, and weaponize it. Most people fail not because they lack potential, but because they cannot sustain movement. They start strong and collapse quickly. They rise for a moment and then sink back into old patterns. They build briefly and then abandon their progress because they allow emotion to overpower structure. Momentum is the antidote to this weakness. When you master momentum, you no longer need motivation, hype, or inspiration to move. You operate on internal propulsion. Momentum turns discipline into habit, habit into identity, and identity into destiny. It begins with one simple rule: never break the chain. Whatever your mission is, your training, your work, your craft, your routine, you must execute it daily with ruthless consistency, even when it feels small, even when your energy is low, even when the world pulls at you. Small, repeated movements create unstoppable force. When a man commits to daily progress, he becomes dangerous because he eliminates the need for perfect conditions. He moves regardless of chaos, regardless of doubt, regardless of mood. This creates psychological dominance. You stop negotiating with yourself, and your mind begins to trust you. The second principle of momentum is acceleration. Once you start moving, you must gradually increase the difficulty, the pressure, the standards, and the expectations. A man who grows only at the same pace eventually plateaus, and plateau is just a slower form of decline. You must constantly upgrade your targets, sharpen your strategy, and elevate your behavior so that your momentum continues rising instead of stagnating. The third pillar of momentum is emotional detachment. Momentum dies the moment emotions take the driver's seat. If you allow fear, boredom, insecurity, disappointment, or impatience to dictate your actions, you break your rhythm. Momentum requires a cold, psychological stance. You act whether you feel like it or not. You move whether you are inspired or not. You execute whether the path is clear or chaotic. You train your brain to understand that motion is non-negotiable. The fourth element is friction control. Friction is anything that slows your movement. Clutter, noise, low-value people, disorganized spaces, unclear goals, decision fatigue, and digital distractions. To preserve momentum, you must eliminate friction aggressively. Make your tools accessible, your environment clean, your plans visible, your routines simple, and your decisions pre-made. Momentum thrives in clarity and dies in confusion. The fifth principle is self-reinforcement. A man builds confidence not by fantasizing about success, but by collecting proof of his own reliability. Every day you execute, every day you follow through, every day you honor your word, you reinforce the belief that you are a man who moves. This internal evidence becomes fuel for further action. You no longer rely on external validation because your track record speaks louder than praise. You become your own source of fire. Another critical component is recovery. Momentum is not a reckless sprint, it is a strategic marathon. You must rest with intention, not laziness. Recovery means recharging your mind, recalibrating your system, and returning to your mission sharper than before. Rest is fuel when used correctly, and poison when used as escape. Finally, momentum requires isolation from mediocrity. You cannot stay in motion surrounded by people who stand still. You cannot maintain discipline surrounded by people who break theirs. You cannot stay sharp around dull minds. You must elevate your environment to match your ambition. Distance from the stagnant strengthens your momentum. When all these elements combine, daily consistency, gradual acceleration, emotional detachment, friction elimination, self-reinforcement, strategic recovery, and environmental elevation, you become unstoppable. You move like a force of nature, unaffected by resistance, unaffected by doubt. Your life shifts from effort to flow. Your actions synchronize with your ambitions. Your goals bend in your direction. Momentum becomes your greatest ally, turning your intentions into achievements and your potential into power. Number 10, the final ascension into a life that wins. A life that wins is not created by chance, talent, or external blessings. It is forged by a man who refuses to live on the same level as everyone else. A man who chooses discipline over weakness, clarity over confusion, structure over chaos, and purpose over pleasure. This final ascension isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming undeniable. It's about reaching a state where your habits, your mindset, your strategy, and your direction operate in perfect alignment, creating a powerful internal engine that drives you forward no matter what obstacles rise against you. At this stage, you no longer chase motivation, you generate motion. You no longer depend on validation, you validate yourself through action. You no longer fear pressure, you thrive under it. A winning life becomes inevitable because you have built yourself into a man capable of winning, not once, not occasionally, but continuously. And now, the final step is integration. Everything you've learned, control, discipline, focus, energy, reinvention, execution, momentum, architecture, must merge into a single identity. You are no longer someone who practices these principles. You become someone who embodies them. They flow through your routine, your decisions, your presence, your posture, your voice. People will begin to notice that something about you feels different, sharper, calmer, heavier, more commanding. That is the aura of a man who has aligned his internal world with his external mission. But ascension also requires vigilance. Power decays when neglected. Greatness fades when taken for granted. You must guard your identity the way kings guard their crowns. This means continuously refining your strategy, challenging your limits, removing new weaknesses as they appear, and elevating your standards as you grow. A man who ascends must never become arrogant. Arrogance weakens awareness. You stay humble, not because you lack power, but because humility keeps your mind sharp enough to detect threats and opportunities before anyone else does. You remain adaptable because rigidity breaks under pressure. You stay disciplined because discipline is the foundation of everything you've built. And you maintain a cold, strategic calm because emotional chaos destroys even the strongest foundations. A winning life also requires contribution, not the soft, sentimental type, but the kind where you lift yourself so high that your presence becomes a blueprint for others. You become a living example of what discipline, clarity, and strategy can create. You inspire not by speaking, but by moving. And as you rise, your world expands. Opportunities that once felt distant begin to flow toward you. People who ignored you begin to respect you. Challenges that once terrified you become manageable. The life you once fantasized about begins to feel like an obvious extension of who you've become. This is the reward of ascension, not the cars, the money, the admiration, or the comfort, but the internal power that makes those external victories possible. You live with a quiet certainty that whatever comes your way, you will handle it. Whatever goal you choose, you will achieve it. Whatever mountain stands before you, you will climb it. You become a man who wins because winning has become your nature. And now, as you stand at the edge of this transformation, there is only one thing left: action. Apply everything, live everything, embody everything. Because a life that wins does not belong to the man who knows what to do, it belongs to the man who does it relentlessly. And now it's your turn to become that man. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and comment your empowering phrase below.